Hey everyone, Aaron with Elite Water Sports hanging out in the OBX, about to talk about a little bit of meteorology and also sizing of your equipment, all right? There's a lot of questions here and it's mainly about experience. The more times you do this, the easier it becomes. As a brand new rider to kiteboarding, it is slightly intimidating. What we like to recommend is that you go off the forecast of the day, but ultimately you get to the beach, you get out of the car, you come to the edge of the beach and you look around. You try to figure out what is actually happening, not just based off the forecast. What size kite are you going to be riding for the day? We have this age-old saying, bring everything with kiteboarding. So if you have a 9, a 10, a 12, a 15, a 17, bring it all to the beach. Forget about what the forecast told you it's going to be, because most of the time it's not going to be correct. A lot of days we use the full range of kites. If you have 3 kites, some days you might use all 3 sizes, all right? Don't limit yourself by only bringing one size and be forced out on the water in an overpowering situation when you could have just brought your smaller kite. Now looking down on the edges of the kites, you can see the numbers. 13 here, 12 on that one over there. If these guys were out on the water and you saw 12s and 13s riding back and forth, and you are a similar weight rider, so 180-pound riders riding back and forth, just gauging off their appearance, and you're 180 pounds, you know that a 13 and a 12 would work really, really nicely for you, all right? Now, if everybody else is on 9s and 10s, there's your sign right there. Most likely you should be on 9s and 10s. All of a sudden you see a girl riding by, or a lighter weight rider or a kid, and they're out on 9s and 10s. Most likely you need to be on quite larger kites, okay? So use the surrounding, the scenario, to gauge what size kites you have. Now there's also a little bit more techie info on these kites. If you were to go on to Ozone's website and look at a 13-meter edge, they'd give you a general census of how much wind you would need for this kite with an average weight rider of 175 pounds. Look at those graphs and understand the capabilities of your kite. Every kite's going to have a general outline or a gauge of how much wind it can go in or how little of wind it can go in, right? You want to stay within those parameters. Once you're on the outside of those parameters, that's when the kite feels out of control or possibly not enough wind and you're not going to make it back to the beach, all right? Now, going back to what I said earlier, this is about experience. Every day you should gauge how well and how successful your session was. If your session was super, super awesome, you need to write that down, that I was out in 18 to 21 mile an hour. I had a 2-hour session on my smaller board and I was riding my 13-meter edge. It was fantastic. Or the next day, possibly it was blowing only 12. And I was barely able to milk it, going back and forth, mowing the lawn. And you know what? That just wasn't for me. Then you know that that 13 possibly was not the right size for you for the day. Write those notes down, either mental or write it in your phone, and keep track of that kind of stuff, all right? Ultimately reviewing, you just don't know what to have as far as kiteboarding goes, what sizes, what boards, until you come out here on the beach and get a real scenario-based options. Make sure that you look around, look at the locals, ask the local instructors. If you have a kite school located right there in that same location, ask them. Nobody's going to be offended by asking questions, okay? So this is Aaron with Elite Water Sports. Make sure that you like us, subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more beginner videos made just for you.